Okay, you guys should know by now that I'm pretty big on updates, so anytime I have a change in what I do, whether it's my personal opinion on doing it or whether I've learned it from somebody else, as long as I have tested it and I know that it works or works better than what I've been doing and showing you guys, then I'm going to show you. And I have an example of that right now with, of course, sharpening knives, obviously. This is probably going to be a response to the sharpness of my knives. That's the exact words of the video that I have previously made. This knife right here now is razor sharp. You could shave with it. Now most of my knives, all of my knives, cut through paper just like this with ease, but I've never been able to cut hair with it, and except for the times when it's come from the factory. And now I can do that myself. Some of you probably already could, but I never could get it quite to where it could shave your arm or anything. But yeah, this right now does. What I do now is when I put it on there, I go like this, and I keep doing that. And then if you go like this, you'd feel like little grits. And I got WD-40. I ran out of Rem oil, or I'd be using that. And just barely any on it. Okay, the angle that I usually do is about right here. Okay, right there. Almost flat, actually. But the new way is about right here. I think it's probably around a 30-degree angle. I used to do it at a 15-degree angle, probably around there. But now it's more towards a 30. And you would think that, you know, the smaller the angle, the sharper the knife is going to be. But if you go down to half of a degree, which is virtually impossible for a human, you'd be like shaking everywhere. But if you did that, the knife isn't going to be able to withhold that edge. Not just like through cutting it, but the kind of steel, everything like that. Just like an atom, you can't cut an atom in half because it's so small, so there is a point at which you can't get your knife sharper than it already is. And, you know, I think maybe 15 degrees might be too sharp for this knife. You would think that it would be a little higher than that, but I'm not sure. Okay. And I know you're not really seeing anything special, but there's nothing better to really look at. So what I've been doing is, since this is already sharp, I've already sharpened it, I'm not going to do the whole thing. But what I do is I flip it on the coarse side right here, wipe it off like I was showing you, and then spray it with just barely any WD-40. It would be Rem oil, but I don't have any. Don't have any more. I ran out both bottles. So yeah, I use WD-40 now, at least until I get more Rem oil. So what I did was I sprayed just barely any, just enough to get the whole surface wet, which is probably what you're supposed to do anyways. I mean, that depends on what you define supposed to as, because you know, what I do isn't always the quote official way. But so what I did was I sprayed it down, repeat, I sprayed it down, and then I'll just show you here. I held it right here, around 30-degree angle, and I started just at the tip. This part's about the same, and then just went forward. It's the angle that changed, basically, but the way that I do it on the other side is different. And I did 15 here, going that way 15, and then coming this way 15. That's just on the coarse side. Now on here, I'll show you what I did. Okay, now I was putting probably 15 pounds of pressure on that, so, you know, a good amount. And if you went like this, like I was saying, you can feel the little grits. They're like microscopic, smaller than sand. And then it's kind of hard to show you the amount of oil that I'm putting on, but I just barely tap the button, and as I tap it, I go like that so that it all kind of spreads. It's hard to do it with this can, but it works. Okay, and then I went like this, and I did that 15 times, and then did this 15 times. And then I did it 10 times on each side, 5 times on each side, and then once I got down to 3, I started going backwards, and I did that 3 times, this 3 times, and I'm almost putting, I'd probably say about a pound of pressure. Did that 2 times, did it 2 times, and then got down to 1, and then once I was at 1, I just went like this. Alright, and I did that, I wasn't really counting, but probably around 5 on each. Okay, and then, changing view again. Okay, and then what I did was, I tested it, razor sharp as always. Well, I say razor sharp, it's not always razor sharp, but sharp. Okay, and the whole reason that I started sharpening like this is because I'm trying to get it to cut hair, and now it has, so that's good. But let me just see if I can get this small piece. Yeah, the smaller the piece, the less leverage you have on the paper, which puts more of the work into the actual sharpness of the blade. Because, you know, almost any blade can just have a piece of paper like this and just cut through it, but not every blade can just go like that without using any pressure on it. But anyways, so then what I did, this is another fairly big change in what I usually do, is I took a piece of paper, I set it down on this flat surface, anything will work. Okay, and what I did was, hold on, I need to show you the edge here. Okay, I put it at a very small angle, 10 degrees maybe, and slid it, and then I did it the other way at 10 degrees, and slid it, and felt for the burr. I didn't feel it there, so then I moved up to around 20 degrees, and did the same thing. I could feel it there. When I first did it, I couldn't, but I can feel it now. It's right here, so it's curved this way, coming that way. So you would need to sharpen it the other way. And that's the main problem when I used to sharpen my knives, is that I couldn't find the burr quite as well after you get it to a certain point. But anyways, then I went probably 45 degree angle, just about, and then did the same thing. And whichever had more resistance, if any at all, I mean, because one side might not have any, then I would sharpen it on that side. So, test it again. Okay, so it's on that side, so I'd need to put it here, and just do it very lightly. Alright, and then wipe it off, and did it again. Okay, I couldn't feel the burr there. Can put it up a little more. Okay, now it's on this side. Okay, and if every time you do that, the burr changes sides every time, then you probably need to run it on there lighter. So do the test, whichever side it is, put it on that side, and then do it lighter than you have been, so that it doesn't fold all the way back around. It just kind of folds into the middle. That's what you're kind of trying to do here. And then I'm going to get to the part where it cuts hair, but let's just test this first. Again. Okay. cuts through pretty easily. Now again, I said that it might not cut through hair now because I've been through all that. It just barely cut hair when I started it, but I'll try anyways. Okay, gotta change camera mode real quick. Okay, so right there, see if it still works. Try and get it to focus, but yeah, there. See that? And this is, as you saw, not from the factory, so it works. Make sure to subscribe.